What's up, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Just want to do a video on the Charlo twins fighting this weekend, okay? Probably going to go to the fight. Haven't gotten tickets yet, but probably going to pick some up tomorrow at some point and go to the fight this weekend. I want to first discuss the elephant in the room. Matt Korobov replaced Willie Monroe Jr., who tested positive on a drug test, and he's out of there, all right? So Matt Korobov is going to be replacing him. Korobov, I'm very familiar with him. I've done videos on him in the past when he was fighting Andy Lee, when he was fighting Jose Uzcategui. I remember those fights. I remember watching those fights on HBO back then. You know, I remember talking about him in his amateur pedigree, beating guys like Usyk, Derevyanchenko, Kovalev. Got in a close fight with Triple G. Never saw the fight, but I heard it was a close fight. Yeah, these are all things that happen in the amateurs, all right? The guy is a skillful boxer. When he beat Jose Uzcategui, they both were undefeated as professionals at that time. Uzcategui, we already know what he's done since then. He's knocked out Julius Jackson. He's beaten Andre Durrell, all right? He's currently a champion at 168. So for Matt Korobov to beat him as a professional is a big deal, okay? He got knocked out by Andy Lee. I remember that fight well. I thought he was winning that fight pretty clearly until Andy Lee knocked him out. And that's not the first time Andy Lee has done that. Being down in the fight, he's always dangerous. He's always dangerous, all right? Just like when he fought Peter Quillen. Peter Quillen was beating him up, and Andy Lee just turned the fight around, all right? Hurt him as well. Ended up being a draw. Okay, I believe that fight was a draw, right? Yeah, I think it was a draw. And Andy Lee has done the same with John Jackson, another fighter that was destroying him until he caught Jackson. Andy Lee has a very short, powerful right hook. Very, very short. And I played like the highlight of when Korobov got knocked out the other day by Andy Lee. And the way that it happened was so awkward because Korobov actually hurt Lee bad at that moment. And he came up and got clipped by a short right hook, and he was hurt and he couldn't recover after that, and it was done. All right? It's boxing. Shit like that happens. I guess he took the loss really tough because he didn't fight for a while after that. He came back, fought a few bums, including Brian Vera. And then had one fight earlier this year. There is video. I was able to find video online for it. It looks like he's much older. Doesn't look as sharp or whatever as he used to be, but doesn't look bad. Now, I was looking at some of the videos that were put up on YouTube the last couple of days of him training and doing some pad work and everything like that. And he looks to be in good shape. I mean, he looks like he stays in shape even when he's not training, just always ready. That's what he said in the interview, that, you know, he's always ready, he's prepared. That's good. Now, as far as him being a tougher fight than Willie Monroe, let me say this. Matt Korobov in his prime was better than Willie Monroe Jr., without a doubt. He's better than Willie Monroe Jr. Him being inactive and older, I don't know. I don't know, okay? I still believe that Matt Korobov today, like in 2018, is still a better fight than Centeno Jr. and Highland at 160. Okay, Highland was injured. He was really not that good of a fighter. Easy fight for Jamal. Jamal had tougher fights than him before, right? Trout at 154. J-Rock at 154, tougher fights. Both of those fights were tougher than the two fights that Jamal had at 160. So I still believe that this is an upgrade for Jamal. Is it a better fight than Willie? I'm not sure. Willie is very crafty, very tricky. I think he's hard to knock out. I know people was just thinking that Jamal was just going to go in there and knock him out. I think Willie is tougher than, even though I don't particularly like his style because he just doesn't let his hands go enough for me. All right, his punch volume is extremely low. Like, he's a pot shotter, doesn't really throw much combinations. Just overly slick to me, you know. I think this makes for a better fight, but I just don't think Korobov really have it to hang with Jamal. I think at some point, whether he's doing well or not, I think at some point he's going to get knocked out, okay? Even if he's winning, even if he's giving Jamal some issues, which is very, very possible, I just don't believe that right now Matt Korobov is a good time for him to fight someone like Jamal Charlo. You know, if this was him in his prime, that would be a different discussion, all right? But at this point, not a great fight. Not a great fight, all right? He could prove me wrong. He could prove most of us wrong and do well against Jamal. I'm very aware of who he is and his skill set. But for him to be this inactive after losing 4 years ago, you know, his first fight, he lost. A fight that he was winning clearly to me. I just don't know. I can't pick a guy like that to win against Jamal Charlo, not at this time. I understand that Jamal Charlo, just like all of the other guys at 160, I don't think any of these guys are perfect. I can't even tell you who's the best at 160 right now. You know, who I think can really beat Canelo at 160. I'm just not sure of it. I don't think if any of these guys could beat him right now at this point, especially if you can't knock Canelo out. I just can't see any of these guys beating him to a decision. Not only because of the judges, it's just that Canelo is really that tough. But I got Jamal Charlo winning this one. I got Jamal. I want to see Matt Korobov, very good. Just haven't seen anything from him in years, you know, and I just can't pick a guy like that to win. But he would have been better than Willie if he was in his prime, without a doubt. As far as Jamel Charlo against Tony Harrison, Tony Harrison is a good fighter. He's skillful, he's crafty, he has good boxing technique and everything. And I feel like in very early stages, he may be giving Jamel some trouble. That is not the first time we're going to see Jamel in some issues, having some issues with a fighter early on. You know, but Jamel has fought guys like Vanes Monterosian, fighting guys like, who else did he fight that gave him some trouble? John Jackson gave him a lot of trouble early in that fight. That's when he was adjusting to the new style, new trainer. Jamel right now is tough to beat at 154. Tony can give him some good rounds. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. But Tony's going to slow down. And Tony just doesn't have the chin to take shots from a Jamel Charlo, you know. Jamel is tough. And for him to beat Austin Trout, I still think Austin Trout, and Tony's a good fighter and everything, but I still think Austin Trout is a little bit more skilled technically than a Tony Harrison. I understand Tony Harrison is younger and everything, but Jamel has fought guys on this level before. He's always done well. You know, he's had trouble here and there, but he's going to find a way, and he has the power and confidence to do it. He's just way too fast, too athletic, and he can fight like that a full round. And at the end of the day, if he has to go back to fighting a crafty, you know, skillful fight and use his legs and fight on his back foot, if he has to revert back to that, he can always do that. I don't think he will have to. You know, I think he's going to stick to the way he's been fighting lately. I think he's going to be very aggressive. Sometimes he could be a little wild and everything. Sometimes he could be open for some good shots, good counters. But at the end of the day, he's going to get the job done at some point, all right? So I got him winning. I think he's going to knock out Tony Harrison at some point. Even if it's late, I think he's going to knock out Tony Harrison, right? But it's a good fight. It's a good fight until he gets the big fish. The big fish right now is Jarrett Hurd, you know, and Hurd wants his tune-ups before then. So Jamel is going to have to do what he has to do until he gets that fight and fight whoever else is available, you know. Hopefully we get the Jarrett. We're probably going to get the Jarrett Hurd fight sometime in 2019. And as far as Jamal, I mean, listen, that's the same thing with him. Triple G, Canelo, they're gonna fight Jamal when they're ready to fight him. Unfortunately, regardless if he's the mandatory, they're not gonna force Triple G and Canelo to fight Jamal Charlo. They're just not. You know, those guys are not gonna be forced to fighting anybody except who they want to fight. Unfortunately, you know. But this is a decent fight for a replacement. This is a good replacement. All right, I wouldn't say dangerous replacement, but it's a solid replacement. A guy that I think is better than the other two fighters that Jamal has fought at 160. So anyway, I'm probably gonna go to the fight, and if I do, you know, I do what I normally do, try to get some videos in there and record some stuff, and you know, I'll do my typical post-fight review after the fight is over. Let me know what you guys think on these fights. Particularly, I want to hear from you guys about Matt Korobov and what do you think of this fight. You know, I know a lot of people are probably going to come on here and say that I'm underestimating him. Definitely not underestimating him. It's just that the guy hasn't been active. He's older and, you know, he's just not active. You fight Jamal Charlo. You know, Jamal's a beast. He's just too strong. He's too strong. He's too strong. And at the end of the day, even if Jamal is losing, he can take it up another level. You know, he can definitely take it up another level. He fights on a level of his opponents. He can take it up a notch if he has to. All right, so that's it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.